Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Adobe Live. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone can hear me loud and clear. Thank you so much to Kyle T. Webster, who was just on with that fabulous illustration of a unicorn eating a burger, I believe. I loved that. Thank you, thank you. My name is VooDoo Val, and I'm going to be your host for the Adobe Live Design Off, and I'm joined by my new friend Kat. Kat, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm so excited to get to design and create with you today, and I know that the folks in chat are excited to meet you and to get involved. Before we do some introductions on the kind of work that Kat and I do and what our theme is going to be for today, I would like to kind of let you guys know how you can get involved in the design off and what the design off actually is. So every week, myself and a guest, we actually jump on here. We have like kind of a unique theme that we both design for, and we invite all of you folks out there to create with us. So today, our theme is going to be positive creative affirmations, and you folks can kind of interpret that however you like, be it just illustrating characters being kind to one another. You could design a creative, inspirational poster that says something sweet. You could even go the UI UX route and kind of design maybe an inspirational self help landing page. However, you folks want to interpret this, it's really up to you. And then, if you would, you can share your designs on Twitter and Instagram with our hashtag Adobe Live Design Off, because towards the end of tomorrow's stream, Kat and I are actually going to be taking a look at what you folks created, giving you a spotlight, giving you a little shout out on the stream, saying thank you for participating and showing off your work as well. So, now that all that's through, that was a big long-winded intro, I'd like to pass things over to you, Kat. Why don't you let everybody know who you are, what you do, what you're all about, and the kind of work you like to create.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me here. It's really a pleasure.
My
Um,
pleasure.
I am super excited to see what kind of work people make along with us. So please do share. I'd love to see tomorrow or today. So yeah, as you mentioned, my name is Kat Willett, and I am an illustrator. I live in Brooklyn, New York, in Bed-Stuy. And I work mostly digitally the last few years. I do have a traditional background. I studied printmaking and art history in college, but the past few years I've been working mostly digitally. I do still paint from time to time, which has been a great stress reliever in these last few months.
Nice.
Um, but yeah, I try to make work that uplifts people. I love to make work about social issues and try to use activism in art, which kind of through our conversations led us to fall on the theme of making posters that can inspire and uplift people. So yeah, I'm just really excited to make something cheerful and meaningful with you today.
Thank you, thank you. I'm super excited to work with you as well. For those that don't know me, I do like the daily creative challenges here sometimes on Adobe Live. I've done some hosting segments and some guest segments. I'm a digital painter predominantly. I usually do like character portraits and character design illustrations, kind of like the ones I've got up right now. Today, however, I'm gonna try and change things up. I'm gonna do more of like a graphic design poster, and I'm gonna take it down the lane of '80s retrowave, like cyberpunk kind of stuff. So I'm really excited, and we can just kind of jump into it. I hope everyone will join us and create along with us. But I'm just gonna go for it and see what happens. One thing that you said, Kat, that really stuck out to me is you said that from time to time you still paint. Did you mean digitally or traditionally?
Traditionally,
Ooh,
yeah, so I actually got a studio last month, which is kind of my first ever studio in New York City. Very hard to come by. And the stars kind of aligned, and now I have this great big space where I can paint. So I've been painting pretty large And I do a lot of sketchbooking. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram or look at my website, you'll see that I always have a page for my sketchbooks where I like to paint. And those pieces tend to be like really loose and playful, as opposed to my digital work, which tends to be more detailed. So I've decided to try to bring some of those sketchbooks and like blow them up onto a larger scale and see what happens with big paintings.
Nice. Oh, that sounds awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
so cool. I used to do a lot of traditional painting myself. Mostly like when I was younger, and I hadn't really like kind of branched out into the digital medium yet. It was a favorite thing of mine. And then I also had, and still do sometimes have, like a great love of sculpting traditionally. So I like to get those like vinyl figurines that are blank, and then like sculpt them into like little mini monsters, and then I bake them and I paint them with acrylics. So that's a lot of fun.
Fun. That makes sense for your work too. I could totally see you making little creatures.
Thanks. Yeah. Any chance I get to like do something a little bit creepy, that's
Uh-huh.
like kind of my jam. I think I don't know if you guys tell me in the chat. I don't know if I sneak creepiness in too often. But I feel like every time somebody on Adobe is like, "Hey, would you like to do a character design themed stream?" And I'm like, "Yes, one strange vampire coming up, Adobe. I got you." I I have got it under control. Will do. And I think too, one time I even was like, yeah, maybe I'll mix it up. Maybe I'll do something cute. And then I just did like the cutest Dracula I possibly could manage. And just like,
Oh,
he was like a little bat. Like he had like a giant bat head with like enormous eyes. And I was like, oh yeah, still did the horror theme, but cute. Nailed
that's amazing. Cute.
it.
Well, I'm excited to see what you make today then, because it will be a little bit different than what you normally do.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna be like a more of like nah, I guess I don't know if you would call it like typography, because I'm not like a typography artist. I'm not a hand letter or anything, but I'm definitely going to be like messing with text and doing some pretty cool effects. However, after I finish the text and stuff that I've got going on, I am going to be kind of mixing in possibly some painting to like in like photo compositing to do like a cool background, because retro wave stuff always has like a big like digital 80s sunset in the back, and like some palm trees and like some weird like techno grids. I don't know. We'll see where we get. But the idea is I'm gonna do kind of a sketch.
Are you drawing already?
Yeah. I'm jumping into it. You can jump in
Oh,
whenever you
yeah.
want.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, I am gonna do something with the tagline, "Let's be kind to each other." That's kind of what I'm going for.
Well, I'm glad you said that you're doing typography, which you don't normally do, because that's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
Um, I do some text sometimes in my drawings, but not primary, it's not really what I'm great at. So I made a sketch beforehand so I could sketch it out. Uh,
Nice.
and I'm also adding painting to the background.
Oh, that's so
So,
cool. I love those flowers. That's such an awesome style.
oh, thanks. Yeah, my theme is protect each other. That's my message. And so I looked up some flowers that symbolize protection, and
Ooh,
those are those that I drew. So there's windflower, which are these like big ones, and then foxgloves, which are these really cool pointy ones,
love it.
and verbena, which are these tiny little ones. So I learned about some new flowers, and yeah, there's some symbolism going on.
I love that. I I don't know if I could call myself like a big flower person, but I for a long time, for a lot of years, I just realized, I just looked at my webcam and I have red fingers from eating hot Cheetos. That's super professional and awesome. Hi, I'm Val. I'm on Adobe and I love hot Cheetos. Um, I used to keep a greenhouse, and I did like a lot of like flower growing and like growing vegetables and stuff, and I was like pretty into that for a while, where I love to just kind of not only like cultivate a lot of really beautiful plants, but kind of learn about like history and like folklore surrounding certain plants, which is really interesting to me.
I am obsessed with plants and flowers. If you look at my work, you'll see there's flowers in almost everything I do.
I
And
have
my
noticed, yes.
yeah, so that's amazing. Also, I challenge you to use that Cheeto color in your piece that you make.
All right, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
Cheeto dust orange.
All right, it's gonna be that we're gonna do it. All right, hold on. Let me. I'm gonna start adding like some effects to this text. I'm doing like the let's be and to each other is gonna be like really cool, fancy, like handwritten text, and then the word kind in the center for let's be kind to each other is going to be like the big like boom, oh my gosh, crazy like cyberpunk kind of part. So
Cool.
I'm going to start adding some layer styles to this, and then I will do like a color overlay
Nice.
on this.
Nice. So
Okay, first, let me do. I've kind of started using something that I never really used before, and that is I've been adding like adjustment layers to a lot of things,
yeah.
and it's not really a usual method for me. I usually do like a color overlay just via the layer styles panel in Photoshop. But for the last like handful of projects I've been doing, it's been like really heavily situated around like doing clipping masks of adjustment layers. And so every chance I get to do that, I feel really fancy. Like, look at me using a new thing. I'm so fancy.
You are fancy. That's
Sukosma
awesome.
is calling me Cheeto fingers. I do respond to that. All right, that works. VooDoo Val or VooDoo Cheeto Fingers Val. That's cool. Sam Peterson says share your designs before the end of the stream tomorrow on Twitter or Instagram with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off. Yes, please do. Please, please, please. Also, let me know in chat what you folks think that you're going to be working on. I would love to hear if you guys are choosing like any kind of like slogans or just like positive sayings or anything for your work, and also why you're choosing them. I think mine in particular was really inspired by I had a really lovely guest on recently for the design off named Emmy, and when we were kind of talking, one of the things that came up in chat was how it can be really really hard to post online and share your work uh, with like on the internet and stuff when there's like kind of that fear of people trolling you and people kind of treating you worse than we really should treat each other because of I'm sure it's because of like anonymity on the internet and things like that. And I've always thought, because I've been somebody who's like faced a lot of like strange criticism from strangers, as strangers are wont to do on the internet, that whenever somebody reaches out and like specifically to bully for me, I always feel like they probably feel a lot worse than I do, and so I try to love them anyways, and hopefully that will set an example to them and to other people, maybe a more positive way to react to it, and possibly a more positive way to behave in general when you're interacting with folks on social media and things like that. And so yeah, be kind to each other. Let's be kind to each other. You know, let's kind of spread that message and see if we can get it across to as many people as we can. Because I think in many cases, sometimes people who maybe aren't the nicest they could be, in many cases, I think maybe somebody hasn't been nice to them, and so maybe we could be that person that takes that step out, you know, and extends the proverbial olive branch of kindness to somebody who really needs it, right? um,
Such a no.
RB, welcome in. It's good to see you. Toying with self-care is productive, says Chad Rolfs, which came up in a meeting this morning. I love that. Self-care is productive. Um,
Mm.
I think it's sometimes it can be hard to practice self care because I think especially for us workaholics, it can sometimes feel as if self care is a waste of time. You know, it can feel a little odd. It can feel a little weird. Like, I have work to do. Should I really be watching this Netflix special, or should I really be painting my toenails, or should I really be doing these little things that make me happy? But you're right. Self care is productive. It is a necessary, great thing to do, and you should take the time for that. I wonder, Kat, if you have any like really fun, kind of like you were mentioning, like painting is like a great stress reliever. Do you have any other like cool activities that you like to do when you're like, man, I need to just like get out of my work mind and jump into something I love?
Yeah, I mean, sketchbooking is huge. I'm such an advocate of sketchbooking. I'm always preaching about it because as a creative person, we put so much pressure on ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and keeping a sketchbook is like a nice way to create and kind of feel productive, but you don't have to show anybody. Like you
Yeah.
can just for yourself. And I find it extremely relaxing just, getting big chunky paint markers and scribbling in my notebook. And maybe I just draw like rainbows or patterns or polka dots or whatever. But it's just such a relief for me. I also got a massage yesterday, which I
Ooh.
haven't in months because everything has been closed. And I usually don't like I'm always a bit cheap when it comes to doing nice things for myself. And I usually don't indulge in that sort of thing. And I was really hurting, like in my wrists and my arms from drawing. So I've been really
Ah.
busy the last
Yeah.
2 weeks. And it helped so much. And it was just like, an hour and a half of my life where I didn't have to think about anything. And my only job was to relax.
That
When
sounds
does that,
amazing. Ooh.
when does it happen where all you have to do is relax? Like, oh, it was really great.
Seriously, seriously. I think you know, you mentioned that. I also um a while back I don't do it now because the place that I used to go to they moved their business, and so it's not the same people, and I'm like totally like, you know what, those were my massage people, and I'm just gonna wait till I can travel to their new place. I'm only gonna go to them because I love them and I trust them. um, but yeah, I was going to get like back and arm massages for like the same sort of thing because talking about like what Chad was saying, practicing self care and stuff. I did not practice self care one time, and I painted so much to reach a deadline that my drawing hand like formed a claw that I like could, yeah, like I got it like froze up and I couldn't bend my fingers properly, and it was awful. One of the most painful, worst experiences ever from just like a work related accident I have ever. No, I guess not work related accident. I knew what I was doing. But yeah, I just thought like, well, I don't feel like I should be painting, but I thought maybe I should just paint through it, which a lot of people do. They
Mm-hmm.
just paint through stress and they paint through to get to deadlines and stuff, and they don't practice self care. And after that, I vowed that I would not do that ever again, and I started going and doing the arm and like wrist and hand massages and things, and then I also
Mm-hmm.
practiced them at my own desk, because number one, it feels great, and number two, it's really great for you. So,
Oh, that's so true. And it's so important because if you don't stop and do those things, you're just cutting down the
yep,
lifespan of your career,
yep.
right? Like eventually your body's going to give out if you don't take care of it.
Eventually,
Um,
yep. You're
right.
exactly right.
So it's so important. It's like investing in yourself.
And it's nice too because I found that the more I really pay attention to I guess what my body needs in that aspect, like is like the more in tune I have been with like how do my hands feel when I paint, how does my back feel when I sit for this long. I notice that
Mhm.
I'm also attentive to other needs of that sort, like have I eaten, do I need to drink water, and it's kind of getting me into like this mindset of like caring for myself and therefore caring for others too, because I've got those thoughts on my mind, and so I think about it, pertaining to other people as well, and that it's been like kind of a positive experience all around, for that
Mm-hmm.
reason. Kind of a
Well, I'm
all
so
around
sorry
learning.
that happened with you with your wrist
Yeah,
or
it
your
was
hand.
crazy.
Oh, so scary.
It really was, because at first I didn't know what was going on, and I was like, why is my hand hurting so bad? And I was like, not a big deal. I won't worry about it. And then very, very quickly it became a serious big deal.
Oh,
And I went to the doctor and everything, and I was like, something's wrong with me. What's happening? And the doctor was like, do you work with your hands? And I was like, yeah, I work with my hands. Like my hands are basically like my greatest asset right now for my living, aside from my brain. And he was
yeah.
like, well, you're gonna have to take a break for a while because you kind of worked until you like ruined your hand. And I was like, oh no. And I never really understood what other people meant when they said like you really do have to take a break from all of this, because if you don't, you will mess yourself up, and it is not a joke, not a joke at all.
It's so true. And there are so many tools out there too that I'm really grateful for digitally that make our lives a little bit easier and put less strain. Like, for example, I used to spend a lot of time scribbling by hand
Mm-hmm.
and doing like really fine ink work. And now I can just like make a brush that does that.
Yeah.
And or in Photoshop, and that's like a game changer because right there, that's like carpal tunnel waiting to happen.
Yep. I think that, kind of the uses for a lot of apps and stuff, just like working digitally in general, it was like a huge eye-opening, crazy thing for me just to like realize how much that I could be capable of, in a program, just for reasons similar to that, where I was so used to doing stuff traditionally for so long, and then once I tried something new, I was like, no way, like I
Yeah.
could do this and then like leave myself so much extra time for effort put into like different aspects, like improving my composition, or doing X, Y, and Z. It's been a wild ride through digital art for sure. When did you like really get into digital where you were like, I'm gonna use this for my living?
Probably a year ago, like
Really?
pretty recently. Yeah, super recently.
Wow.
Um, I was resistant, and I think I was also a little bit afraid
Mm-hmm.
because I had a traditional background and I felt like I was a little bit like behind the curve.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And then I went to grad school. I went to FIT and I got my master's in illustration. And I kind of did it so that I would have to push myself outside of my comfort zone and learn some digital methods. And yeah, that's when I really started using it full time and doing client work
Gotcha.
on a digital platform. Yeah. So pretty recently.
That's so awesome. I am trying to, if anyone in chat is wondering like why I keep turning things on and off, I am trying to figure out how to apply this curves level properly, because I am new to using um, these adjustment layers. So I'm kind of like noodling with it right now to kind of make it look a little bit more like what I want. What I might end up doing actually is just doing things the old fashioned way, and adding manual textures until I can kind of like go in and experiment a little more with them, because I'm already hot on the trail of figuring this out, and I'm already super into it, so I can't quit now.
Maybe somebody knows.
Yes. Yeah, maybe somebody knows.
And then,
In chat, like if I'm putting a adjustment layer down, um, and I am toggling it around and I'm kind of trying to change the color, what would the reason be? You know what the reason could be? Maybe I just have like my um, adjustments in the like an incorrect position. I'm thinking maybe, because sometimes what can happen is like you try to put a clipping mask over the top of something, and it doesn't quite work because it's not clipped to the right, or like pointing to the right layer, which could be it, but I don't know. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
We'll see. For now, I'm just going to overlay some colors my way, and then if somebody thinks of something in chat, then we will go with that. Let's see, I'm going to bump this up to like a brighter color.
Yeah, I'm also pretty new at Fresco.
How are you liking Fresco? Like, does it make up a large portion of your workflow? Like, are you predominantly Fresco, or is it something that you do in conjunction with other favorite types of mediums?
I do it in conjunction with Procreate.
Gotcha.
Um, but I really love it, and so I'm kind of working more and more with it. And I'm obsessed with the live brushes,
Oh my
especially.
gosh, yes.
Oh my God, especially for people, like I don't have a graphic design background, I have a traditional art background like you. So,
Mm-hmm.
the closer an app feels to real drawing and painting, like the more comfortable I am with it and the more I feel like I can do with it.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I really love it.
Let me see if I can turn this color overlay off and crank that up. Sorry, I'm also like subtly talking to myself while I'm doing this too. I talk to myself all the time when I'm painting, and sometimes I realize that I'm doing it on the stream while I'm talking to a guest, and then I realize, oh, maybe I should not. Maybe I should not do that.
No, it's part of the process. I talk to myself so much when I'm making GIFs because it's like I have to like talk it out to myself. I'm like, okay, so this layer is gonna come in here, and then it's gonna like it's impossible to do without talking to myself. So I get it.
All right, perfect. Now I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
I also turn my head I turn my head like I'm a curious dog when I'm painting sometimes too. Like it's pretty bad. Let's see. Oh, so I think somebody may have found a solution. Let me see. Or maybe they did and I missed it. Did it just disappear? It must have disappeared for a second. Well, if you are the person who posted that, because I didn't catch who it was that actually posted, it looked like somebody began to explain it. Maybe they noticed a typo or something and just decided to rewrite it or whatever. I'm very interested in the knowledge you had to offer, so please let me know if you do have a solution, because I'm interested in it. Kind of playing with the shadow. I think I'm gonna put do a curve layer directly over this, because I think that's what's. Let's see
Ooh.
if I can do that. No. Oh, you know what? Wait a second. Oh man. I just
Would you
clicked
think that?
something and I don't know what I clicked, but it's awesome. Like, have you ever done that in Photoshop where you're like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and do something something, you hit a button, you're like, don't know what I hit, but I'm loving it. um,
Oh my
this is great. Oh wait, no, maybe that, yeah, okay, so what I did actually was I converted it to a smart object, so that
God.
all the adjustment layers attached to it, it's all like packaged into the smart object, and then the curves that I had overlaid over the top of it finally kicked in. So they weren't really attaching themselves the way that I wanted them to, while while it was not um, all like packaged together. So while it was all out and I could go in and edit all of those layer styles, it just wasn't working. So now I think I can come in and really mess with this, which is awesome. It looks super chrome right now. Yes.
I wish I could see it.
I like it. I'll post it so that you can see it after the stream. And now I'm gonna do my gradient adjustment layer. And I'm gonna make sure to put this on a clipping mask. Hey yo, it's working. I've got it to do what I wanted it to do. Feels good. play with some oranges because I've been challenged to use orange.
Not any orange.
Cheeto orange. We're gonna
Orange.
see how that goes. Okay. I don't know. We're gonna find
Here,
out.
I don't mess with this thick and thin ink brush. It's my favorite brush right now.
Ooh. So it changes depending on how hard you press, like the width of it.
Yeah,
That's nice.
exactly. So it really feels like a nib pen. It's super realistic feeling.
Nice. Okay, I have got some Cheeto orange and red in here mixed with like teal and aqua. And
Yeah.
I kind of love it. So I'm gonna leave it like this, and I'm gonna add some noise is what I'm gonna do actually. I'm gonna add like a noise filter to this and make it like extra. Let's see. Boom.
Sounds perfect 80s.
Noise. Add noise. Oh yeah. Looking cool. I want more noise on it. I want like that kind of noise. I want some more like black and white highlights though. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this and I'm going to drag the duplication up on top of everything and I'm going to make it black and white. This is like one of my weird old-fashioned tricks, which I'm sure that there's a totally different way I could go about this, but I'm just going to do it this way for now because it's the way I understand. And I'm going to make it crazy with levels so that I can get like a really nice, like chromed out version of it, and then I'm going to put it on a blending mode to add some serious highlights to this. Get those white spaces and like kind of a like almost a glare, like a chrome glare on it. Ooh. Oh, I made it like purple and orange. Oh no. I do so love happy accidents in Photoshop. They make me very happy.
It's the best.
But
Because there's so many combinations that you just can't think of.
Yeah, and playing with blending modes is really fun because it's like, for me at least, it's kind of a cool way to have like an idea and like a plan for what I'm gonna do, but then also leave like a little bit of it to be completely unknown, you know, and have like this element of surprise in my own work, if that makes sense.
Totally. A little bit of spontaneity.
Yeah. I'm gonna go to my channels and I'm gonna select this and I'm gonna duplicate to see if it just gives us our, yeah, just gives us our highlights. That's cool. Okay, we're in business, folks. Now I'm going to think about adding another gradient and kind of add like a dark, oh no, you know what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to add a shadow overlay in the layers panel. That's what I'm going to do. The layer styles, boom. I think this is the first time I've really done like this much like graphic experimentation on Adobe Live. I've done like smaller tutorials that last like the 30 minutes for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge, and even then, after I get done with doing like the intro and all of the uh, like introduction of how to get started and where to download things and stuff, I really have maybe more like 15 to 17 minutes for it. So this is the first time I've really dug in and been like, all right, we're gonna figure out some cool stuff for a graphic art thing and not a drawing or painting like I always do. So this is neat. Let's see.
I like that we're along for the ride with you.
Thank you. I feel like I'm along for the ride for this gorgeous foxglove you are designing. This is the foxglove, right?
This is the foxglove, yeah.
I love it. What
Making me
color
like
are foxgloves? They kind of vary, don't they?
Yeah, they vary. They're often like a gradient of pinks,
Mm-hmm.
which is really crazy. They're really crazy looking in real life. But yeah, they'll fade from like pink to purple to yellow.
Nice. I love it.
Nature is so crazy.
Let's see, what else can I do to this? I want to put like, what does satin do? That's kind of cool.
So anyone who is watching along with us, I am going to um, distribute the line work of this when I'm finished tomorrow as a coloring page that you can download and print or color in digitally on your own.
Amazing. Oh, I can't wait for that. I'm probably gonna have to color it in. That's probably what's gonna happen.
I hope you do.
Okay, I have got this super wacky colored word kind here. I kind of want to add one more little bit of texture to it, so I'm going to go through my libraries and I'm going to find like a metal texture, I think, and throw a metal texture over the top of it, I think is what I'm going to do. Because I think that would be cool. Make this a clipping mask, and throw it on a blending mode. Or maybe I won't, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. I kind of like it being bright like it was though, because that just looks kind for the word. So I think maybe I might leave it like that. And then I'm going to choose some... Actually, I'm not going to choose the font yet. I'm going to add like some starburst because I feel like it needs to have like light blooming on it as well. So let's do... I'm going to group all of this crazy stuff together. And then I'm going to add some bloom to it. Group. Okay.
I love that you're doing like an 80s metal poster with such a sweet message.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to make it like edgy, cyberpunk retro wave, but then it's like, aw, how sweet is that? Looks like the Kiss logo. Awesome. Oh my god, you're right.
The
Take it as
kiss
a
look.
compliment. Yeah, I took that as a compliment, Timothy. Thank you very much. Let's see. Yeah, RB had my back there with the turn it to a smart object, then go to image adjustment curves. I do that all the time. I can't duplicate it. Yes. Let's see. Juan says, "Don't know what I hit is greater than," and works at Adobe. That's exactly. I will defend myself though, because one of the beauties of Photoshop is that you can use Photoshop for your entire job. You can use it every single day for your profession. It could be the way that you pay your bills. And you can still find new things in that program almost every day because it is so vast and there are so many different cool little points of details and things you can do, and different methods and ways of approaching the same sorts of things, that I find that I'm discovering new stuff all the time. And also, I think another explanation too is that I think when you work with a program so regularly, you've probably done a lot of different things in it. But I mostly focus on like what I prefer to use, right? But today I am diving out of my comfort zone and trying to do something a little different, a little strange, and I'm definitely feeling it. But it's fun. It's fun because I'm having a lot of little happy accidents. Um,
It's so
so
true.
I'm gonna share like a little pro tip type thing real quick.
Ooh.
I'm gonna bump over to a single screen real quick. We're gonna take a look at your beautiful foxglove, and
Mhm.
then I'm going to turn on this here. Okay, So they can see my screen now, and I'm gonna move us over so that we don't block each other and block the menu here. Okay, so I found a cool way to make like starbursts, and not the candy, just bursts of light. And I use like the polygon tool, like the polygon tool in the shape tools menu here. If you just right click it, you'll find the polygon tool listed there, and you can click it. And I come up here to the little path options, and I turn star on, and I indent the sides by like 95%. And then I change the sides to 4. You can change it to how many sides you want. And then when I go to draw it out, it actually makes like those perfect shapes of like the 80s retro wave, like bursts of light, which is really, really cool. So then I can just like bring these and place them around on my file like this, and design with those. So I have like little tiny bursts and light and cool stuff. So I'm gonna play around with those. I'm gonna flip us back to our dual stream here.
What a cool thing.
Yeah. So if you guys ever wanted to know how to make 80s retro wave little starbursts like that, now you can.
I can't wait for Fresco to come out with shapes.
Oh my gosh, that would be so amazing.
That's gonna be game changing.
I think I would lose my mind. I'd be like, all right, Photoshop, I knew you well.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I could never forsake you, Photoshop. I'm just kidding, but I would definitely use Fresco even more, which is saying something, because since I started using Fresco, it's been like at least half of my workflow.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Let's see about placing. Okay, so you have a lot of like tiny little details in a lot of your work.
Uh-huh.
Like you're very eclectic with some of the designs, and placing really interesting little tidbits of imagery around. And I'm wondering if you ever fall into this trap that I fall into all the time, which is I've got so many little tiny things that I want to add, but I can't tell if I'm being overzealous or not. Like,
Yes.
I really try because I'm like, I want, these little things to be on here, but at the same time, I don't know if I've added too much, and if I'm like super biased in having added like tons of different things, or if the eclecticism, if that's a word, I think it's a word, if it's really working. Like, do you ever feel like that, like worried about all the details, or does it just come naturally for you?
Yeah, I worry about it a lot. It's like I feel like a minimalist inside, but when I draw, I'm a maximalist. So I'm always like, okay, how can I rein this in? Like, actually, I did this sketch yesterday, and the entire background was filled with flowers.
Oh, really?
It's like no dead space at all. And then I edited it out. So usually my process is like I put a ton down on the page, and then I edit myself back to simplify, but I'm always like, okay, how do I simplify this? That's always my question to myself. And it's really difficult.
Yeah, it can be. It's like specifically with that situation, but also I think it's almost like the story of the designer's life, the story of the artist's life, right? Where you're making something, and sometimes you're like, I'm awesome. Look at this cool thing I'm making, and then a lot of times you're kind of like, do I know how to draw, or do I know how to design? Is it just me that thinks this is neat, or do other people like what I'm making? I don't know. I can't tell.
It's so hard. It's like so easy to get stuck in your head, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really hard to self critique
Oh, yeah.
and edit. And that's what I miss most about grad school is like having people around all the time to be like, hey, what do you think of this? But I think, the internet is amazing for that reason, like social media. Sometimes I'll put a piece up on my stories with a poll, like which version do you like better?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Kind of tapping into the creative community and asking for help because it's something everyone struggles with.
I think that's what streaming is for me, is like,
Mm-hmm.
this opportunity to be working, and then um, all of a sudden somebody can like give me feedback, or I can ask for it, and say, hey, what do you guys think of this,
Right.
and it's hard, because when you jump into that, kind of like I was talking about earlier, sometimes the internet can be a very interesting place when it comes to anonymous people sharing opinions. And as artists, we put a lot of ourselves into our work, so very often an unsolicited critique, or a critique that's too harsh, compared to what we were looking for, maybe, can feel like a
Mm-hmm.
personal attack, sometimes. But once you get over, um, worrying about what, like, every detail of everyone's feelings about your work, and you kind of learn how to parse through taking, um, constructive criticism or just straight up criticism, like uh, you kind of develop like thick skin. I think, there's a way to do that in a healthy manner too, rather than, kind of being knocked down a peg every time you post. Like, I think that there's a good way to think about things and to be healthy about it. But once you get to that point where you're confident, and not that anytime you post on the internet people are just going to be like lying in wait to tell you it's bad. Like, I'm gonna make sure I'm not like, when you get on the internet they're gonna tell. No, but it does happen. But once you kind of get past that, it can be such an amazing tool, just to be able to, post your work, to have somebody, or to live stream your work, and to have somebody tell you immediately, like, hey, change this, or what if you did that, or,
Mm-hmm.
it's such an awesome thing, and no matter how many trolls I have encountered, I will never regret, being a part of the live streaming community. I don't think I could be, because I've had so many great, experiences, especially here on Adobe Live with all these awesome cats. Um, I love it. I'll never go back.
Yeah, it's so valuable. It's so valuable. And I think as an artist, there are moments when you're not open to criticism. You just feel a bit weak or just not ready for it. And like that's totally okay. And I think respecting those boundaries, knowing when to sign off and,
Mm-hmm.
when to not let yourself absorb it is super important because some days you can really take it and you're really open to it and you really want to grow and you really want to know what other people think and you want to make your work better, and other days you just can't. And I found that respecting that sort of dichotomy is super important.
Oh yeah. Um, I think it's, for me, it's been the, and this might sound weird, but I've had to kind of learn how to be blunt in my own head, um, because it's the only, like, the like internal bluntness with how I feel about receiving criticism has been one of the main things that's allowed me to, continue to, like, block it out immediately, instead of allowing it to take over and rule me in a way. So I've got like this weird mental reaction that I have, to people that post, maybe not so nice things, about my work, where immediately in my head, instead of being like, oh my gosh, what do they mean by that? Oh no, do they hate me? Did I do a bad job? Or, I just go, I didn't ask you, in my head. And then I either choose not to respond, or to respond in like a positive manner. And I don't mean that to sound like, aggressive or awful in a way, but I have to like think that in my head, so that I put up like that mental wall real quick, so I don't become emotionally involved and invested in that mean thing. And
Mm-hmm.
then, take a step back, take a breath, react with kindness. You know,
Yeah.
react with outside kindness, if that makes sense. And I find that it protects me from a lot of bad feelings, and a lot of worries, in that regard. Um, Also, I would like to point out we got about 5 minutes left. I can't believe it. That's wild to me. Before we
I,
take off.
well, I'm not anywhere near done, so
Me neither. I've got like the
okay.
text done. And I'm adding like a drop shadow to it, which fear me, drop shadow non-enthusiasts in the chat. I know some people hate drop shadows, but I'm doing it and I'm adding serious noise. Um,
Yes.
but I haven't put a background on mine or anything like that, so don't you worry.
Okay, good.
Let's see. I do like this. Somebody was saying in chat I should add some dark inner glow to highlight the starburst. I was actually thinking about putting like more of a bloom. I was gonna go like J.J. Abrams with it and be like lens flares everywhere because they're my favorite thing and see just how it looks. I don't know if it'll work, but it's maybe.
Try it.
I might just I don't know if I have time for it today, but I think all in all we got like a fair amount of work done. I think it looks like you got your whole piece like inked and you've got some really great
Oh,
lettering
thanks.
going on. I love
Yeah.
how everything's staggered and like a nice combination of like sharp and round.
Oh, you're so sweet. Yeah, I saw I always look at old retro posters for inspiration.
Ooh.
And I was coming across all these old 60s travel posters where the text was all staggered like this. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh, that's really inspiring.
All right. Well, this is what I got for you, folks. This is what I made for today. Why don't you zoom out and show us like a there we go, like a full screen where we can get a good look at your design. And then why don't you tell us where's the best place that we can find you online, Kat? For everyone in chat, I know will want to follow you and keep updated on your projects and things after we're not hanging out here anymore.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram, cat with a C, X Willett, Willett. That's my Instagram handle. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not really on Facebook. So that's where I do all my posting.
Awesome.
Um, so yeah, please connect with me. I would love to see what you guys are working on as well.
I'm also not on Facebook. The best place to get a hold of me and see everything that I'm posting is for art. Possibly is Instagram's possibly the best place. I post a lot on Instagram, just like general work that I finished, and then Twitter for. I'm sure this is going to totally surprise you, Kat, but Twitter for sketches, art, and Star Wars memes. Um, we already had a bonding moment over Kylo Ren and Rey with their like weird switchblade style, like switchblade, like Swiss Army knife style lightsabers with all the different tools coming out. So we had a good time. We
We did.
we were
We
sending
did.
gifts back and forth. Um, but that is all the time that we have for today. I'm loving this, Kat. I think you've done an excellent job. I'm excited about mine. I'm excited to see what everybody else creates for the design off as well. And I can't wait to see what you folks post tomorrow. So don't forget to prepare something to share with us with the hashtag Adobe Live Design Off because towards the end of the stream tomorrow we're going to take a look at it. And we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining us, folks. Thank you, Kat, for being my
Yeah.
guest. And we will see you next time. Adios, everybody.
Bye, guys.